Like, just live your life, worry about yourself, be moral, be ethical, be responsible, be respectful, but don't care what everybody else is doing, because unless it affects you, like you said, in the immediate, like just
Right.
move on.
And so conceptually, right? So then the question is like practice. So the best thing I ever heard was check it out. And if you're not willing to check it out, just let it go. But check it out, because chances are it wasn't that big of a deal. It's in your head.
Yeah.
And you're stewing for nothing.
That's
All right, welcome to another episode of the Fully Funded podcast, where we talk about everything from health, wealth, and just overall lifestyle. And today we're actually going to talk about lifestyle. In a world where there's just, we feel like there's just so much thrown at us, it's almost impossible to stay optimistic. And that's really the question, is how do you stay motivated? How do you stay positive? Because you can hear the term all day long. You can say, be positive, think about the good things. But the question really is how. So I'm Christian Lopez. I'm here with my co-hosts, Zachary Bleznick and Ryan Plaza.
Good morning. Good morning.
good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hopefully you're watching this in the morning, but we're
You're
filming
right.
in the morning. So, but the question is how, right? So Ryan, we'll start with you. Like, you hear the motivated speeches, right? They say, stay positive, be positive, or just keep yourself out of the slump. But the question really is, how do you do that when you're just so way down?
Man, run away. I just went to Mexico for 12 days, and it was great. Not run away. I take that.
And then you ran away for like another 2 weeks
back. Yeah.
after.
I'm like just getting back to work. But really it's just unplugging, right? And I think it's understanding when, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I think so many times, we're trying to keep pouring into people and pouring into people, but you don't even have enough juice left in your jug, if you will. So I just ran away, if you will. I went away for 12 days, and it was refreshing, like to unplug and really sit with my thoughts and go for morning walks and do those things. So unplug, and then I would say is just, when you are back and you are in reality and life is back running 150 miles an hour, take that time for yourself, back in the gym in the morning. And I think that's a good mental and physical thing for you. So,
And success in different, I'm looking at the camera today.
Proud of you.
Success in different seasons means different things. And success for me is also like your mental, right? And there's so much pressure to perform, especially where the economy is, the state of our industry and our 9-to-5, which is mortgage, that it's easy to kind of get in a rut every single day. But if you don't have your mind right, well, nothing else is gonna be tight.
Yeah.
What's he saying? Mind right?
Know.
Keep your mind
I
right.
don't know.
Your game
But
tight.
I was thinking about this morning. I've got some really big projects that I'm working on personally, and I I've been really hard on myself and saying, man, some things that I want are not moving as fast as that I really would like them to be. But then I look back and I say, man, like, how can I focus on being the best version of myself for the people who are relying on me if I'm not like the best version that I can be to even perform those duties? So like, I'm like, okay, well, let's look back over the last 3 months, right? Okay, maybe I didn't accomplish some things in business that were good for me, but I was able to get my mind, my body, just my entire being in a state that's better than ever before. So I think like sometimes you have lack of clarity of where you can move and what you can do, because you're weighed down by so many things, and okay to pause and focus on yourself before you necessarily exert that energy to get after that next thing.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple things in there, right? Your mindset, having a vision, but I think the other piece too, you talked about your health.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you mentioned really having that escape, clearing your mind, giving yourself a little bit of reset. And I think that is ultimately the problem that probably a lot of people have, is that there's no one solution to just get out of a sort of depressed state or to get yourself motivated. It really requires an entire lifestyle of it. So like for me, I knew that working out was very important. Like, I knew that if I didn't exercise, I just wasn't good. I was very sluggish, and it messed up my whole mind. So I knew I had to get back in the gym. So all right, I'm gonna go to the gym after work. Well, that doesn't really work, because you end up working late, and then you got to go home. You have responsibilities. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna commit to the morning workout. And you see these guys all the time, and now I swear by it.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to exercise, get up in the morning and do it. And then, of course, I'm like, oh, yeah, you wake up, it's 5 o'clock, it's still dark out, your bed is as the most comfortable. I swear, the most comfortable time of the day is your bed at 5 a.m.
Yeah, and
Nothing
you're getting
like it.
every single possible thing pulling against you and telling you, don't get out of bed. Don't get out of bed. You don't need it. Go later. You'll do this. You do that. This morning I opened my eyes. It was 6:10. I freaked out. I looked at the phone. I said 6:10. I texted Ryan. I overslept. And in that moment, it was like, oh, yeah, I'll just go downstairs and Peloton. Oh, I'll just work out today. I don't have appointments this afternoon. And Ryan's like, you have plenty of time. And he was in that plenty of time. By the time I got to the gym was like 35, 40 minutes, right? And I was just like, you know what? 40 minutes is better than no minutes. Go now, because my entire state of being is different because I worked out this
Can we
morning.
tell the people what I really said?
That's what you said.
And then I added,
don't be a little biznatch.
Yeah. Well, I was like, then my next thing was like, well, or, you could listen to the B word voice in your head and just lay in bed, right?
Hey, this is a podcast. You can say whatever you want, man. It's okay.
We're trying to get this YouTube money, man. Let's not curse much.
But I do want to highlight this because this is like exactly where I was working towards is I actually had to like recruit people to work out with me and like get them in the morning.
Accountability is a massive thing.
100%.
I wouldn't have been able to do it had we not tried to do it together.
Yeah. And like, Arthur here, once he committed to working out in the morning with me, it was like, like, he's going to be there.
Hold on. So I have to say a real funny story real quick. So yesterday I text him, right? So like I'm back in the jail. I was gone a little bit. So yesterday I get in. Now I know he has like he changes his routine every other week. So now I look, to see.
He does have a kid, so he gets a little bit of a pass.
Oh, no, but it's there. It's just that he changes the routine. Some mornings he starts with his walk. Sometimes he works out, whatever. So I look in the areas that I know he's going to be. And then I'm like, hey, where are you? Like, where are you
No,
hiding?
he didn't say it. He
He
sent me emoji eyes.
Oh, yeah, I sent them the eyes first, like, hey, where are you at? Then my next is like, let me be nice. Where are you hiding? Like, let me speculate that he's here, right? This guy, he doesn't tell me he's there, he's not here, he's whatever. He later texts me and he's like, I'm by the cables thing. So I'm like, all right, I keep doing my thing, and then I go see him. Long story short, later on, he's like, yeah, bro, I was late. Instead of just coming up to me when he walked into the gym, he acted like he was overdoing the damn cables. And then comes later on and was like, oh, yeah, bro, I was late.
Well, that's not how you use the accountability.
No, he was like, no, because he originally sent me the emoji eyes, and I just shot him back question marks, but I wasn't even at the gym yet. I was like, I knew damn well what he was saying, but I wanted to act cool in that moment, be like, what? Like, I'm here. Like,
Yeah, he's like, I'm by the cables. 15 minutes later. Sorry, I had it.
No, that's good. But this is good stuff, right? This is important because when you could build the ecosystem around you and you know that, hey, some people are just not self-motivated, right? So recruit that friend, find that person that also maybe wanted to get into the gym, get their health correct, right? And use that to build off of each other.
But how often does that actually work, man? I feel like accountability partners are like the hardest thing to find. So how do you find the right accountability partner that actually is going to show up with you every single day?
I think it's like anything in life. It's a numbers game. You work through.
Agreed.
There's some people that, you try to get in the gym and they're more of a one a week type person. And then you got a guy like Arthur. But, and the reason why I bring up Arthur is that that he started, I'd be like, let's go at 6. I was like, it's too early. That guy started showing up at 5:30. And I get there. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm already halfway done.
Yeah.
But it takes time to find that person, but they do exist.
Yeah.
And it starts with you, right? So you push them, they're naturally going to start pushing you back. And when you know that, okay, I know they're going to be in the gym, it gets to a point where you probably won't even text each other. You're just like, all right, where are you at? Like, let's get this going.
The only reason I was texting him probably is because I just started to get back. But other than that, it's kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
I know.
I also have a great question on this topic is like, we're talking about how to get motivated, how to stay self-motivated, how to kind of get out of this rut. Man, there's so much information overload out there. And it's funny because the thing I really like about you, which maybe you don't know if you do, or I think you do.
More.
You're subconsciously you challenge a lot of things because I think it's easy to be like, well, we have these like sauna talks, right? And we have these sauna talks, but like one day you come in like the topic's this, and then the next day like the topic is this, and they kind of contradict each other. Like it's so hard when there's so much information about there. Like, hey, how do I get motivated? Who do I listen to? What is the right path? And like everybody's got a different kind of shtick, if you will. So it's really hard to like figure out who to listen to, who's right, because it looks different for everybody. And every time I'll talk about something, you'll kind of be like, well, you'll kind of challenge, be like, I don't know, man, you just said yesterday this, and now you're flip-flopping to this.
Yeah, because he's on 15 diets later.
No, I'm not talking about that necessarily, but
yeah.
okay.
But I see what you're saying. You have to find somebody who has similar goals,
Yeah.
but is also willing to challenge things.
Yeah.
You know, you can. Yeah, I always live by the fact that you can learn from anybody, right? So don't go into a conversation, don't go into a room thinking you have it under control. Right? You go to the gym and you have your routine, and somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, maybe you should try this out." Well, if your first instinct was like, "No, get away! I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone."
Yeah.
You'll never know if it was actually going to be beneficial for you. And so it's a balance, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. What are you guys plugging into in terms of on a daily basis to stay motivated, to push that kind of those inner demons, those voices out of your head and bring in positive stuff? Is there anything you guys are plugging into?
I think it's the opposite. I think it's unplugging.
Ooh, that's what I was just about to say.
Social media is one of the worst things that's happened to humanity, because you get on there and you see these images of these people, and I follow this guy, and he's hilarious, but he basically just calls out every fitness guru out there who edits their photos to make themselves look better than they actually are, because the average person is looking at that thinking like, oh, if I just buy their diet program and I exercise the way they do, not realizing that that's their life, that's their business, right? We don't work out for a living. We're not actors. We're not bodybuilders. We have jobs. So it's unrealistic for us to say that it's going to be easy to be in that. I mean, you could do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's more unrealistic to accept that. So get rid of all of that out of you. Focus on you. Like, what is your goal? Like, I don't look at my scale. I don't look at my weight on a scale ever. I look at I just look at myself and how I feel and how I look. And I'm like, I'm happy with this. And that's enough.
I love that. I'm going to piggyback on both of you guys. I think that there's been so much information and so much things, especially in real estate, right? Like there's so many, everybody's a coach, and there's so many things that I think that it's easy to get lost in the sauce, if you will, and lose who you are. So that's why it's hard to find somebody or you're always flip-flopping and listening to different people. It's because you haven't realized, who am I and what do I truly want? And I think that's over the last month and a half what I've been refocusing on. It's like, who is Ryan Plaza again? What is my mission? What impact is it that I'm trying to do? And then go back and listen to the motivators and other things, because I know the path that I want to get onto, or I know where I'm going, and they're just assisting me. They're being that voice on the GPS and kind of guiding me. But it's getting back to knowing who I am, because we live in this world where so many people don't know who they are, like, or what they want, or they're not even happy with themselves, right? And that's where you hear the gossip and the hate and the little chit chat, is because they're not happy. So for me, it's like I've unplugged from all that, social media stuff and the motivational videos, and gotten back to really spending time with myself and my thoughts, and reorganizing my office and meditation room, and like, who is Ryan and where is Ryan going?
That's impressive.
Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about creating the ecosystem, right? Putting yourselves around people who have similar goals and visions, but then what is your vision, right? What are your goals? So you have to kind of iron that out. So I guess, for you guys, maybe like, what has allowed you, like, how do you figure out where you want to be at? Like, do you really think everybody's like, oh, I got a 5-10 year plan? Like, do you actually have a 5 or 10 year plan, or you're just like, listen, I just don't want to die?
I mean, for me, honestly, this is going to sound silly, but like, everybody kind of sees me as this hustle guy, but like deep down inside, like, I'm kind of lazy, and I kind of like don't want to do anything. Like, I don't say that to like demotivate anybody or myself. What I really am saying is like, I want to enjoy life, right? Like, hustle culture. Like, I've been grinding my entire life since I was 5 years old. I'm 37 now. So you're talking about, what is that? A long time, 32 years.
You should be able to do math. When
32 years,
man.
from as far as I know, I'm just work, hustle. And, priorities shift in different seasons. And this season, obviously I have 4 small children. I have a wife, a family. I want to work really hard, but I also want to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Like, I'm very much like a philosophical guy in terms of like, I don't believe everything that we're being told is actually true, meaning the blueprint that we've been giving for humanity, where, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, you earn money, you put money into 401k and savings, and then you retire, right? Like, I just don't believe that's what life has to offer. So I'm constantly putting myself into situations where I can expand my mind, what I'm exposing myself to. And as a result, that vision is like, I work hard for a means to an end, right? And that end for me is the ability to not necessarily have to wake up every day and work for a living, but work because I truly enjoy building things and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to provide experiences. My personal mission statement, I've shared it before, is to provide opportunities and experiences to others they never imagined for themselves. And obviously I'll be included in those experiences. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's just, work hard to, see what, life has to offer down the road.
Yeah, I don't have 5-10 years. At one point I probably did. Now I just, have yearly trophies. So I try to put a trophy in the China box every year, right? So just one trophy a year, whether that's my mortgage license. This year I'm finishing writing a book. I'm like 85% done. So it's putting those trophies and then having those targets up where I know I want the farm, I want the second house, I want this, but it's there, it's in hindsight, I'll get it.
That's awesome. So I think going back to the whole ecosystem piece of it, right? The people that you have around you. I mean, how crucial is that?
I think it's everything. I'm writing a book on mentorship right now. Like, I think I would not be where I am if it wasn't for the people along my journey, right? And then even like with Zach, it's we talk about accountability people and we truly play to our strengths and weaknesses, and that helps my career, right? I think it's knowing too, like, I used to think that you need one mentor for your whole life. You can have mentors in different seasons for different reasons. So I think that's important.
And I think cutting people out of your life completely, as painful as it is 100% necessary to your growth. And you got to be a little bit selfish in that aspect. What do you think?
I mean, no, I agree with you. I think the most toxic thing that people tell you is like, you got to put up with others, especially family. I think that's the worst thing, the worst advice anybody's ever given. And I understand the strength of family, but I mean is at the end of the day, people are people. And, just because you have a blood relation doesn't really doesn't take away somebody from being a narcissist or, being selfish. It doesn't go away just because you have a blood relation. So yeah. I agree. The people around you, making sure that you're sharing similar goals. If somebody, okay, you mentioned how you want to enjoy your life. If you're with somebody who's just got the hustle mentality, who's never going to get rid of it, yeah, he'll match you in this moment. But are you having real open conversations to say, I understand we want to do this now, but this is where I'm heading for. This is where you're heading for.
Yeah. Like, don't be afraid to insert yourself into rooms that you feel uncomfortable with, especially if there's people out there that, you want to associate or you want to be like or emulate. There's no shame in like sliding into, a successful person's DMs or showing up at an event that you want to meet somebody and going up to them and talking to them. Like, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? Mm-hmm. Get around these people and they could change your life.
So let's talk about mindset. Right, because obviously it starts with your mindset, and then of course creating the ecosystem, the people around you, whether it's working out, vacationing, working really hard, spending time with family, kind of balancing that whole thing. But I think obviously it all starts with mindset. Where have you guys found that maybe you felt you're going down that negative pathway, like the woe is me, I'm the victim, to get yourself from either getting out of it or just not ever allowing yourself to fall into it?
Well, I think mindset and like motivation is like taking a shower, right? Like, you need it daily. It fades away. You don't shower for 3 days, you're going to smell a little bit, right? You're not positive for a few days.
You're French.
You're going to stink a little bit. So I think that, then a body in motion stays in motion, right? So one for me is I learned physical, like having that physical daily. We talk so much about activity, but having that physical activity in my day-to-day life helps my mental, right? Mm-hmm. And then the second one is living in a state of gratitude. I heard not too long ago, like, you can't be upset and ungrateful and grateful in the same time, right? So whenever I'm starting to feel an emotion, I'm like, let me be grateful. What am I grateful for? Oh, the sky, the stars, my friends, and really try to lean into a gratefulness. So it's every day, right? Hitting that refresh button on the tab and working on myself daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's, if I've said this before, and I've heard this phrase a lot, is like, I don't understand why that person did that. Like, what was going through his mind? And the truth is, you'll never know. because you're trying to understand somebody else making a decision without living their life. You're looking at their decision making based off of your life, right? Everything that's led up to that point, no matter how old you are. If you're not willing to actually find out and understand what led them to do that, then you need to let it go.
Yeah, there was this quote the other day that says everybody, like talking about their parent or somebody's like, you know, be like nice on your parents. It's their first time living too, right? It made me really think about it. Like, it's all our first times at this thing called life, right? But I'm expecting you to do the right thing with me all the time, or for you to say the right thing all the time. It's like, one, like, and I say that, all right, I said the other day, right, you made a comment, you came to us in the kitchen and you made a comment, and then you're like, oh, like, Ryan probably hates me now. And like, oh, I just know how you are right now. You're like, oh, I'll take that, right? Yeah. But what I really meant by that is, like, I'm learning to put myself in your shoes, right? And say, like, before I judge and say, all right, Christian just came in here, he said this, is like, why did he say it? Why is his upbringing? Why? And maybe he's just different than how I am, right? And maybe we just speak different, right? So that was more where that tone is coming from, a place of seeking to understand where you're coming from.
And it happens all the time. Like, this guy came up to me, he's like, yeah, man, so-and-so, man, he really likes you. I don't understand why. And I'm just like, well, I don't know if that's a compliment, a good thing. And then I really thought about it, and he's just
I was joking.
I know he's joking, but it's just like, whether maybe he wasn't, right? Maybe it was just something he said.
I was.
No, I know. But hear me out, right? Maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe it was just something he said. And then I could think, well, he's got a close relationship with this person. I've only been around him 2 times. Maybe he's just wondering, how does he even care about this other person he's only met once or twice, right? And so that's my point, is that you can choose the way you think. Right? There's a video I play for these guys at least once a year. It was David Foster Wallace, I think his name was, and he did a commencement speech at a college graduate, and he talked about changing the way you think. And he's like, and he goes through like the mundaneness of our life, and he goes, you're sitting there in traffic, upset, your day is ruined because somebody cut you off in a big old SUV, right? And he goes, well, maybe that person was in a tragic accident and his therapist all but ordered him to buy that big old car. He goes, that probably didn't happen. But the point is, you can choose the way you think, and you can choose to not let it bother you. And sometimes I see people hold on to things for so long, and it's just like, let it go. It's not going to affect you 5 days from now. It's not worth your energy today.
It's liberating, man.
Yeah.
I think, right? Last year, I mean, I'm still a sensitive guy, but like last year, the year before, as long as you know me, like, I'd really, really get it.
I feel like your therapist sometimes.
No, but like this year, I'm just like, okay, like, hey, Ryan, you want to go to this event? You're like, nope. I'm like, all right. Like, it's like, whatever. Like, who cares? Yeah. Like, it's just like, whatever, dude. Stop trying to control people. Stop, like, just live your life. Worry about yourself. Be moral, be ethical, be responsible, be respectful, but don't care what everybody else is doing, because unless it affects you, like you said, in the immediate, like, just
right.
Move on.
And so conceptually, right? So then the question is like practice. So the best thing I ever heard was, check it out. And if you're not willing to check it out, just let it go. But check it out, because chances are it wasn't that big of a deal. It's in your head.
Yeah.
And you're stewing for nothing.
That story that you tell yourself in your head is one powerful mother beeper, man. You got to really, like, what is that voice and story that you're telling yourself? That's something I personally been working on. Like, what story am I telling myself? Because a lot of the times it's BS. Like, you're just making it up.
Well, he just said check it out, and I think that was one of the best, like, nuggets today is check it out, right? I think that we don't make ourselves vulnerable enough to actually talk and speak to each other and communicate. Like, if something, I heard something was bothering me, like, and I just went to the person and I just checked it out, right? Because it will stew inside your head, and we have to learn as a society to communicate better and just move past things and clear the air, because in an absence of a narrative, you'll make up your own story.
I was trying to think of it.
That's what it is.
We were trying to think of this morning. Yeah. In an absence of a narrative, you'll make your own story.
So Ryan, help us out here. Sum up a little bit for the camera, some of the main points we've gone over today.
All right, guys, get in the gym. Be physical, man. Found accountability partner. Get in the gym. Not even get in the gym, right? Go for a walk. Do that 20-minute walk. Move your body.
Move your body.
Do some jumping jacks. Do some push-ups. That's super important. When it comes to your mindset, right? Hit that refresh button It's all right every 2 days to hit the refresh button, call a friend, get motivated again. And I think one of the best ones was check it out, guys. Check it out. If something feels funny and it's not usual, like, you know, it's like when you go to buy eggs at the store, right? I don't know about you, but I open them up, I check them out, right? Maybe 12 are good today, but sometimes there's only 10 good ones, right? And you didn't know, so go check it out.
Man, you're good. You're good.
Tell
you
me
got some
more-
good stuff,
tell
bro.
me more.
I'm just thinking about when I bought eggs the other day, and like I opened it up and one was cracked, and then I went to go to another one and one was cracked. So I took one cracked one, put it. So now one has 2 cracks.
Oh, listen, I do that too. But hey,
Yo, keep
somebody's
spitting, bro. I like this.
Somebody's
got
to figure it out. But I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, all of these nuggets today were great, right? And it starts with having that mind right, having the accountability. You know, you talked about your circle a lot, and I think that's so important, your ecosystem, right? Like in its entirety, your friends. What are you reading? What are you listening to, right? Check your ecosystem, audit yourself.
Yeah. Hey guys, if anybody wants to follow you guys on, you know, Instagram or, you know, anything like that, and check out some more of you guys to say, how can they find you?
RS_Plaza.
What about you, Christian?
I should know my Instagram. Man.
Right?
I'm Christian Ray Lopez.
Awesome. And I'm Zach_the Mortgage Broker. Hey guys, this was another episode of the Fully Funded podcast, where you can find us on all major platforms, YouTube, so on and so forth. Come check us out. If you like what you hear, like what you see, definitely leave us a review. That's how we can find more listeners just like you. And definitely come back again for another episode of the Fully Funded podcast. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks for coming.